Jason Shen, welcome to my podcast. How are you?
Hey, Charlie. I'm good. I just did a
the
dry
name of the
needling
podcast,
session.
by the way. I'm talking over you in the first few seconds. I'm so sorry, but the name of the podcast is Hey Charlie. So your Hey Charlie back at me is literally I can now make this my first episode because it was so perfect. Other than me then talking over you, but for a second there, it was perfect. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying. You asked me how I was, and so I was gonna actually respond by telling you I just did a dry needling session where they do you know what it's like? Acupuncture and pinpoint massage had a extreme baby. So they stick a needle in various parts of your muscles, and it contracts really hard, it feels like you're being shocked or something. But the idea is that it takes tension and by forcing the muscle to actually contract it, then it loosens. It feels like I did it a bunch on my neck, and it feels like I did a whole bunch of reps of neck work, where you had a weight on your head and you lifted a weight, because it's just super tight, or not super tight, super sore now. Anyway,
there's so many things to talk about, but if we don't spend another 45 seconds talking about that specific thing, I'm not going to be able to focus. So have you done it before? Was it the first time? What is this?
First time. Friend suggested it, highly recommended. I was going through some tension and some regular aches and pains of being almost 40, and opened up my world.
Well, hey, how about us? Look at us both almost being 40. What a great, that's great. I like it.
It's a whole
I feel
thing.
Good. I feel healthy.
I do.
Okay.
I do, yeah.
So this is why I'm so excited to have you on, is because we caught up. We hadn't talked to each other maybe in 6 months or a year or something, and then we started talking. We're like, why has nobody hit the record button? Somebody hit the record button. We should share some of this to the people that follow us that are in our circle. So a couple years ago, I went through a bad co-founder breakup, and I lost the relationship of a really close friend that I had known for over a decade. The kind of people that person in your life where you think, if I start a company with them, I don't even need to worry about what the lawyer is saying in my operating agreement. I don't need to put any clauses for arbitration. I don't need to do. I'll do it, I guess, because they're saying I need to. And obviously, many such cases, many versions of this story. And then, of course, we broke up as a friendship, and we had multiple companies we owned together. And even now, Jason, even now, 2 years later, it is still sometimes difficult for me to parse out, going through the fog, looking for clarity. What exactly happened? What part did I own? What were my mistakes? What were their mistakes? What was circumstantial? What was bad luck? And I found you during that time, and you coached me, and it was pretty much helping me find a lighthouse inside my own mind, right? And clearing everything out. And then I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity. I haven't really talked about this for kind of obvious reasons.
Right.
6 months out, a year out, maybe even, it just feels way too soon, especially if it's a close friend who I genuinely actually want only good things for them, right? We don't talk. It's like a bad ex breakup. There's no reason for me to hit my ex back up. But I do have a genuine acceptance of what happened and hope that their life is better. But I wasn't rushing to go on a podcast or on Substack and be here are the 10 things I learned from my co-founder breakup. But here we are, and I thought a great opportunity for you to explain the methodology that you came up with to help people that were going through these transitioning moments, like founders that are transitioning to something new or trying to process. So I would just say a few more things about what I remember, because I think that it's just always nice for you to hear as a coach, emotionally, what do I remember feeling that really mattered to me? We did maybe 6 sessions at least. And the few of the things that really helped, I really liked is I had this foundation of starting of what if my life was a Netflix TV show and I was going to season 5 or season 6 and I have to do those recaps. What happened last season? And I got to go through quick. And it sets the stage for okay, I went through the breakup. This is going on. Man, I could really use some direction. What's the challenges for this season? Is Jim and Pam finally going to end up together? What's going to happen? Where do we see things going? And the reason why I think it's so good, and you and I've talked about this, is I think the most important thing that happens for anybody, not just founders, is the internal voice going on in your head all the time and the narrative it is telling you. And so when you get somebody to prompt it, through this, what if it was a TV show, it's a really fun, kind of easy way for them to reveal what narratives they're selling to themselves, and then you can try to work with what you have presented there and push or stretch. So that's the first thing, and then I'll say the other thing, and then I want you to just explain like how you came across some of these. I had sticky notes everywhere. I had sticky notes all over my apartment
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you had this like really simple, easy to do, get different sticky notes and just start throwing like, what are the things I imagine myself doing next? What's interesting to me? And every time I think of it, and I get excited and the creative thing inside me starts to go, like put another sticky note and create like a tree and see how much is my heart and my spirit and my brain kind of like gravitating towards this is what I want to do. And how much is like 2 weeks have gone by and I just put that one sticky note up of, yeah, I'd like to work for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers scouting department in Tampa, Florida. And then I never put another sticky note on there. I was like, I think I just got excited from watching a football game. I don't think I actually want to move to Tampa and work on scouting professional athletes. So those are the
Sounded
two.
cool. Sounded cool.
I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll do sticky notes to see if it pops up again. The football season just started. So I guess tell me two things. I know the methodology, but I'd also love to know like why you enjoy doing this kind of work and what life has been like for you since we did this almost 2 years ago.
And yeah, I think almost 2 years ago, I was either not yet full time. I might have even. Do you remember if I was still working at Facebook then?
You were like transitioning out, like
Yeah.
you were still kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I think.
Because we saw each other at Vibe Camp, and it had been a minute. So it must have been kind of while I was still at Facebook, because we went to Vibe Camp happened like almost a month after I left.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was still in Facebook at the time, still deep inside the belly of the beast. And, I was kind of cultivating my small number of coaching clients. I was really grateful that we got connected. And, what you went through is not uncommon, right? It sucks because you're like, it's just like all these, marriages, right? You're married now and nobody goes into marriage being like, yeah, in like a 5 or 10 years, I'm going to like hate this person and like never want to talk to them again, right? But it does happen to a bunch of people, and not everybody, but enough that it's like a real risk. And business, there's a lot of intense emotions. Your identity is wrapped up in it. A lot of like who you are, what you mean to other people. It's kind of wrapped up in. And so, yeah, when we met, you were going through the grief, anger, disappointment, questioning yourself, questioning like, am I a good person? Am I competent? Did I even understand what was going on? How could I not have seen this coming? So there's sort of a lot of coming at you, right? And coming back to what you said, the Netflix thing, like narrative is a huge part of, I think, of my work, because you can change your narrative in an instant. Like we can't change your actual reality of how much money you have, what job you have, where you live. None of those things can change overnight. But how you see yourself, and of course that can't really change in an instant, but it can, without any external reality needing to change, can be different. And that's really powerful, because if you see yourself in a new light, you can take new actions and move into a new place. And we can always change the meaning of things that have happened. You can't change the past, but you can change the meaning of what the past means to who we are now and what it means to our future.
Hell yeah.
I'll
I love
pause
that.
there, right? Like I can keep going, but that's
I
sort of
think it's
like
good
one.
to take a breather. You kind of, because as you're saying it all, I'm going back and imagining myself as the character, right, and thinking about all that stuff and how it happened, and it was so much. What do you enjoy the most about doing this, though? Because you've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing it more than 2 years full time now. It's the opportunity to really be inside a lot of people's worlds and inside a lot of people's businesses. It's a real privilege. It's a real privilege to have this kind of closeness with somebody, and to be someone that they trust in this through something that's really important to them, something that's really difficult for them. I have ADHD, and it's hard for me to stay on one project, one mission for many, many years in a row without any like changes and deviation. Obviously, businesses all change and evolve, but this is such a beautiful thing where I get to stay in many people's journeys. I've clients who've been working with for more than a year. I have clients that I can reconnect with, like you and others who have, continued their journeys, and to just be able to see that and to be a part of that in a minor but I think meaningful way is really amazing. And I think that I get a lot from the interplay between what I see in client A versus client B, or a year later client C, and sort of I feel like my mental model for how these things evolve is continuing to grow through all that experience.
I love that. How much has changed from what you started of thinking? I know that I inherently am like a curious person, and I've had some very specific experiences. I should make myself available for other founders or other people that might benefit from me connecting and taking seriously whatever they're going through. To now, where it's like, oh, I keep pivoting, or I keep not pivoting, I keep kind of sharpening in on specifically I seem to enjoy the most or feel like I have a lot of value in a co-founder or somebody going through a very specific type of experience. Like, what has that been like as you've been like refining kind of who you look for, or who you think ends up being a really great client fit?
Yeah, I think I really work with clients who have a deep set of values. Everyone has values, but like people who are operating from those values.
Somebody whose
Um,
like eyes start to like spark when you actually start talking about values, like they're excited to
yeah,
tell you
talking
that
about
they've like
values.
deeply thought about them.
I don't always bring up values explicitly, but I think some people have thought about like what they want their life to mean and be about. And some people are like, I want to be successful and then I'll figure out that other stuff, right? Or like through being successful, the other elements of my life will fall into place. And I think I can't work with someone who largely sees the world in that way. Like sometimes people have that surface level story, but then you dig in and you're like, well, but you said all you care about is X, but then you're telling me Y and Z are important to you too. Like a certain amount of freedom. I see the way you're acting. It's really like protecting your freedom or protecting, the originality of this product, right? So there are things that matter to you outside of just achieving, right? Like I had a client who 6 months ago was like, I was like, look, if this company didn't work out, like what would you have wanted to do in that process? And he was like, this company cannot not work out. It needs to work out, right? I would just be disappointed no matter what because I'll have failed. And months later, he was like, you know what? I said that in the past, and I just wanted to work on an idea that was successful, and now I realize that that doesn't make sense. That is not one a path to success to think like that, but two, there are things that I value more. There are things that I inherently more interested in, and therefore can spend more time on, get deeper into and solve the problems for better. And so it's sort of like, okay, we took a big circle to kind of come around to that, but now you see that. And I think that was always there. You had to like experience trying something that looked like a great market opportunity just cause, and then go in, 2 months and realize, I don't want to do this for the next 10 years. Great. Okay, good. Like let's start over. Um, but I think in terms of what I do, I think one area that I've heard again and again, it's sort of like everyone's superpowers are kind of you dismiss them because you're like, oh, you're so good, Charlie, you're so good. You're like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
I'm a
Everyone can do
master.
that.
I'd say 95% of my life been a master of deflection, and it's only in the most recent chapter of my life I realized it's actually super important. It's super healthy to like pause, take something in, feel it, say thank you.
What do you find that people, before I say mine, that you find that people praise about you that you quickly deflect or previously deflected?
Well, it's kind of funny because it's so on theme. Could not be more on theme for the actual discussion about what we're talking about, which is being observant and giving people feedback on something like I admire or I notice that they did or I thought of, because I just like watching and picking up on things in general. But I love the ability to tell somebody something that I saw that I feel is like genuine or feel like I want them to know about themselves. So I think it's interesting, right? On the other end, I work so hard to deflect if somebody returned the favor.
Right, they're trying to observe something about you, and you're like, no, 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 no. Yeah, I experienced that last time we spoke. You talked about my hair, which is a lot shorter than when we met. And and that it was working for me. And I really,
Yeah,
it's
you're like
a
a total
relatively new
babe
cut.
now. It's crazy. Like you're going viral the moment I publish this. It's gonna be
Stop.
nuts.
Thank you. But for me, I think one thing that people would say is that I'm able to make analogies or metaphors or sort of frame an idea in a different way that makes sense to them and helps them. It's kind of like that shift of like, oh, I was looking at it like this, but what if I looked at it like this? That feels more empowering. That feels more tractable. Um, and it kind of gets them over. I remember talking to someone who was uh, trying to leave his company and he was pretty burned out, and he was like, but shouldn't I, just tough it out and prove to myself that I can handle it, and like I'm not resilient enough, and that's what I need to do is like stay here until I can like master it, and then I can leave, right? And I said, sounds like you're running a long race and you think you sprained your ankle, and you're like, well, I need to prove to myself that I'm strong and capable and can run long distances. I'm going to keep running this race instead of like stopping, icing your ankle, maybe taking a couple weeks off, and then getting back. And he's like, yeah, that you're right. That would be stupid.
Clicked and it resonated. It's such a powerful gift, truly. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Well, hey, we have to talk about this then. I have 5 minutes left with you. So this is it. This is the
Okay,
first.
this is it.
This is the
wait.
first viral moment. Are you ready? Because this is
Yes.
so good.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. I'm going to fix my stature. I'm going to have it all ready so you can use this in all your socials. So here's the most important and best thing about the Y Combinator application that anybody can fill out. It's just sitting there online for free, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's good for business planning, and you can go through and find out all demand. And yeah, you can turn a camera on, and it forces you in a quick video to upload something and pitch, and no, none of that. But here's the reason why everybody should do it. You get to the very end. Do you know the very last question on the Y Combinator app?
What other ideas have you considered that you haven't told us about?
It's even phrased, it's exactly that, but the way they phrase it, because it's to your whole point, you sometimes can unlock somebody's mind just by the way that you'll phrase something to them, right? If you weren't pitching this, what's the other thing that you wish you could do? Many of the times we have funded people, it has been based off what they write in this box and nothing preceding it. Incredibly powerful, right? So this leads me back to we were talking and you said, I don't know why people don't think about their life in the same way they do when they're playing a video game. They've beat it. Now they can play New Game Plus. And with that comes a sense of maybe they can do what they really want to do.
Right.
But this is it. This is our only game. And to see it with this frame of New Game Plus can actually radically transform your perspective in ways that can feel really fun and freeing. So I wanted you to talk about this New Game Plus idea. I wanted to have it on my screen and send it to you.
We're gonna put it into words. So this started because the question came up of, I want to help people self-actualize. But what does that even mean? Is that just a theoretical concept? Well, how do we put it into more tangible terms? To me, self-actualization, and that just came to me in the moment when we were talking, is like New Game Plus. You have beat the main campaign, you still have your character, you still have challenges in the world, bosses, enemies, maps, places to explore, but you are no longer coming from a place of, well, I don't have enough this, I'm not enough that. Only when X happens, then can I... No, you've beat it. You don't have to do anything now, but what do you want to do, right? And you will still get knocked on your ass. There'll be new enemies, there'll be new challenges, there'll be new hard things to do, and you can still grow, but you're coming from a place of wholeness, enoughness, like having already conquered to a level that you don't need to prove something to somebody anymore, and it's more for
abundance. New Game Plus. This is, I'm just gonna say it like 2 more times. It's so good, and you can tell if somebody feels like they beat the game or not. And the fact that like that's something you enjoy trying to guide people through, I think is something you should be deeply proud of. And I think we should both just share personally something in our life that we feel like is part of how we feel like we've won the game, right? So I'll say, I feel like I beat the game and that I know I'm enough. Now that can go up and down. It could be times when it doesn't feel that way. I'm not like this like Zen, the ego is dead thing because I tripped on shrooms or whatever. Like, I know I'm enough. And so when I have a conversation with my wife about what kind of house we should be thinking about or what kind of school when we start to have kids, I care about all those things. I want to be analytical and I want to be thoughtful, of course, but it comes with this feeling of abundance that everything is already finished because I spent so much of my life from a sense of lacking. And now I know I'm enough. And so that would
Yeah.
be like the way that I feel like I've won the game. I already kind of understand what the game was. Does that make sense? And do you have something like that feels like similar to you?
It does make sense. And I think it is a good representation of what we're talking about. I think I'll give you a similar version of this, but even a little bit more concrete was that I remember the first coach that I worked with in my mid 20s. She had me do this like 20-year, like you meet your future self. It's kind of like a guided meditation and you kind of like envision meeting yourself in the future. We may have even done it.
We did.
But
For sure we did this.
yeah. And so I remember thinking I would live in New York. I would live in a kind of tall building. I would be married. I would be at home though while my wife was out, and I would have there would be like a little girl playing, in the house. And I live in New York. I am married to an artist who goes to her studio every day. It's not a tall building. It's only 7 floors, but there's an elevator. It's like you have to take an elevator to get to my floor. I do work from home, and I have an 8-month-old daughter who is in and out of the house. And so to me, when all of that kind of came together, it's not to say, oh, I have this, and now if I lose this, then I'm no longer self-actualized. It's more to say like I knew even 20 years ago this is 15 years ago, I'd have this vision for my life. And I was able to not manifest it but like build it, get to it, like, and that I enjoy it, and that I thought I would enjoy it, and I did enjoy it, and I got there. So whatever happens now, I can trust in myself that I can both see what I would like actually get there and actually enjoy it when I have it. And I think that's a place of enoughness for me.
You beat the game. You beat the game, and now you just get to decide whatever you want to do in New Game Plus.
And if the game changes, I can do work with that too. If I've done it once, I can do it again.
That also is a huge thing. Yeah, I now feel like if everything fell away, I'd be okay. All right, well, we did 2 things here.
Yes.
First off, the time just flew away on us. But
Yeah.
We did 2 things. One, we turned the camera on and we pulled off what is almost the impossible, a podcast that's going to be under 25 minutes, right? Which I'm deeply
2 men
deeply
talking
proud
for
of.
less than 25 minutes.
Incredible. And 2, we did what I really wanted to do is I just wanted to give a space for you to talk about what you do, why you love it, and what you have been thinking about recently, because I do think you have a gift with specifically what you reflected on. So is there anything that you wanted to say another word on, or just some other thought that you wanted to close out on before we go?
I wanted to build on what you said about like having gone through this. I think there is something really powerful about pain and suffering that people who have never really suffered are afraid to suffer because they don't know what it will be like. And it's the unknown is more scary than any known thing. And it's not to say that you would ever like to go through that again, but you know what it was. You know that you are stronger than it, that you can recover from it and grow as a person as a result. And I think it's that if you win, great. If you don't win, you've gained something even greater, which is the knowledge that you can survive something very difficult.
Clip it. Publish it.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's do it
again.
again.
I gotta jump. This was great.
Thank you so much, Jason. We'll talk
Thank you,
soon,
Charlie.
yeah?
Take care. Talk to you soon.